welcome to Talk a Good Games match preview of West Ham United against Chelsea, the first game of the new season at the London Stadium. Gonzo, can you kick off with your thoughts on Chelsea, please?
I certainly can. They were on a bit of a spend up. They were on a spend up last season, and I thought, oh, well, that'll do it. That'll stop them. But they've continued their spend up. I don't know how much of that is down to the players that they sold to Saudi. There's some let's say some accusations of skullduggerous activity there because Todd Bowley has financial interests in some of the Saudi investment fund or something like that. I might have that completely wrong, but so we're using allegedly for that one, I think, which has freed up a little bit of more finances. He spent a fortune. So I read somewhere the other day that he spent nearly £1 billion since he came in and bought we didn't buy the club off Abramovich, did he? Someone else got the money for that. Something's going on there. I don't think anyone has quite clarified where that £2.5 billion went. So there's some weird stuff going on there anyway. They buy loads of players, Geo. Loads of players. At the point when they'll stop, you think they'll stop, they buy another one. A really weird situation with Caicedo, where it looked like he was going to Liverpool, and they seem to have pinched him off Liverpool. Liverpool are complaining. They can't complain too much. It's exactly the same thing with Diaz, who was about to sign for Tottenham. So, if you're going to, people in glass houses and all the rest of it, that sort of thing, really. But there's some really funny memes and GIFs, I'm never sure what's what, out of the two going around at the moment, which are basically mocking and roasting, let's use that way, Liverpool. And it's quite funny at the moment. If you look at it, it looks like Chelsea keep doing Liverpool over. What they couldn't do was do Liverpool over in the league match, in their first home match. So, yes, it's all go there. I'd expect even more players to come in at Chelsea, actually.
Yeah, I think they'll be one of the more interesting clubs this summer because it's the word transition gets bandied around a lot in football over the last few seasons, our club as well. But this is definitely one of those seasons for Chelsea. Let Pochettino come in, sort out what he needs to sort out. A lot of players have left this summer, which is expected. They're probably buying more players than I thought they would. I thought they'd get one or two in, but they are bringing in quantity as well as big sums. Caicedo being the most recent one. They're after Romeo Lavia, and Elise would be a terrific signing for them as well. But they're certainly spending the money. It'll be interesting to see what their aims are this season, how they get on. I was quite impressed with how they got on against Liverpool, actually. I thought they played quite well. I thought they were probably the better team. A bit slow for the first 20 minutes or so, but once they got into it and got going, I thought Chelsea were good, actually. And it looked like it sounds a bit silly, but just playing square pegs and square holes, which isn't really something that they'd been doing for the last couple of seasons. It felt like there was players out of positions and things were a bit strange, and they didn't have a striker, this, that, and the other. But it looks like Pochettino's almost just going back to simplifying football a little bit at Chelsea, and he's certainly got the squad of players to do it. The talent's definitely there. It's not really his fault. It's not really up to him how they balance the books and who's in charge of the finances. Let the people in the boardroom do that. But you look at the list of players that's come in and the list of players that's gone out. There's about £300 million worth come in, 250 million gone out the door. So there's a big, big change at Stamford Bridge. And it's still not as big as it was last season, which just shows how ridiculous it is at Chelsea right now. So it's a bit of a strange club. And, we at West Ham, we've got enough to talk about on a daily basis. I can't imagine what the equivalent Chelsea channel is doing. Every hour. Yeah. Every hour they must have a new video to do, going, oh my God, this has now happened here.
Great, huh?
So it's all good. But speak about this summer only, Pochettino's arrived. And like you said, they sold a lot of players. I mean, the three top sales actually have all been to clubs within the Premier League, with Havertz going to Arsenal, Mount going to Man United, and then Kovacic going to Man City. So actually the three biggest sales have actually stayed within the Premier League and not actually gone out to Saudi. But like I said, 300 million spent up. Now, there is a bit of a funny one there because then Kunku is on that list who they sort of agreed to sign last summer, and he's coming this summer. But anyway, what do you make of all the ins and outs at Stamford Bridge?
It's hard to keep a track of it. I've got to be honest, from a personal point of view, it's so busy. You sort of switch off, and I have done. But I find the exits may be more interesting for me than the people coming in, because I know the players. So Mason Mount, well, that's going to be a really interesting one actually, because he was Mr. Chelsea, wasn't he? Really, and grew up there with Declan Rice, as we know, and that was always the story. That was the the bromance, the love story, if you like, that Declan was going to go back to Chelsea and join his buddy, and they'd play at Chelsea and win trophies forevermore. And now neither of them have gone to Chelsea. He's gone to Man U. You know my views on Man U. I'm not impressed with them, the squad, the manager. I just still think it's a problem club. I'm not sure that'll work out particularly well for Mason Mount, but I may be proved wrong. The Havertz one, really talented player. I just think you mentioned about the Chelsea playing a striker. Spend all that money on him, and rarely did I see him in his best position. The thing that secured him the move, I think he might have got an £80 million move from when he came over from Germany. A very, very prodigiously talented player. My favourite player of the lot is actually Kovacic, and I think he is going to be a wonderful signing for Manchester City. I think he's the right player for Pep Guardiola, and out of the three of them, it would not surprise me if he goes and has the outstanding remainder of his career. And of course, his compatriot's just gone there as well. The defender's just gone there as well, so that'll probably be quite good for them. In terms of players coming, I don't know. I do think it's a big season for Raheem Sterling, though, because a lot of people were saying big mistake by Manchester City last year. If you go back and you look a year ago, look at the press Man City were getting Sterling. A big mistake. People were saying, no way, Pep's got it wrong by getting rid of Sterling. And well, Pep got it right because he won the treble, and Sterling was absolutely awful when he went to Chelsea. And I know lots of people were awful at Chelsea, but a big season for him, actually, both for Chelsea and for England, because there'll be a number of players chomping at the bit to take his England place as well.
Yeah, I was one of the ones with Sterling. I thought he was a good signing for Chelsea, but Pochettino played him last week. I think he'll play him again this week as well. And I think I expect him to be one of Chelsea's most improved players this season, actually, with Pochettino there. And a lot of young wingers wanting Sterling's place, like Madueke and Mudryk. But I've got a feeling Pochettino will stick with Sterling as long as he can, because there's a lot of young players in that starting 11 for Chelsea, and there will be on Sundays. I do think he'll need some experience in there, and I think Sterling's one of the ones he'll probably turn to. But some of the names that's gone out is Stamford Bridge, then we'll move on to how we think they'll get on this season. Havertz, Mount, Kovacic, Koulibaly, Pulisic, Mendy, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Perdue. Kepa's gone on loan to Real Madrid, about 250 million. Wow. There's some of the players coming in Nkunku, Caicedo, Jackson, who'll be up front, Robert Sanchez from Brighton. They've signed a player from Rennes, who I don't know how you pronounce his name. They've got that new centre-back, Disasi. Another couple of players as well, but a £300 million spend up. And then they're obviously in advanced stages with Elise and Romeo Lavia as well. So there could be another two big signings to head into Chelsea. Now, before I ask Gonzo how I think Chelsea will get on or what they should be aiming for this season, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. It's the best place to keep up to date with all your latest West Ham news or Chelsea news if you are a Chelsea fan subscribing to the channel at the minute. But it's not just news. We've got fancy Premier League back. The deadline is on Friday for this week. So if you want to know what the injury news is for each club, you can find it on the OneFootball app. If you want to know who Chelsea has signed this summer, you can find it on the OneFootball app. You want to know who West Ham are linked to signing for the remainder of the transfer window, guess what? It's on the OneFootball app. And the best of all, it's completely free. You can download it using the link in the description or the QR code that's currently on your screen right now. The one-stop shop app to keep up to date with all your latest needs as a football fan. Gonzo, Chelsea, what should they be aiming for this season then?
Everything. That level of spend up, everything. Knock Man City off their perch. That's what they have to do. They got the manager. I like Pochettino, by the way, but I didn't say that earlier. Look at the way that they were playing against Liverpool. Amazing how high Reece James and Chilwell. I know Reece James thinks got an injury, but amazing how high they were playing up the pitch. Maybe I shouldn't be amazed, but I don't even think. Hard even to call them wing backs when they're playing like that, really. They're certainly doing a lot more attacking than they are defending. But with that level of spending, so they got that Fernandes fella in midfield, over 100 million. Caicedo, over 100 million. Lavia is going to be there. Plus, they've got the players that are there already, that were there already. You have to be challenging. You absolutely have to be challenging. And Mudryk, or whatever his name is, big money signing he was. They've got to win. It's winning trophies. No top four funny business like that. Win trophies. One, at least one, ideally two for Chelsea, I think. I probably should say as well, what I do think is quite nice. I've got no love for Chelsea, but what I do think was impressive that they played Colwell in there, and there does still seem to be a little bit of room for the young players. I think, unfortunately for West Ham, Martson was introduced as a substitute, I think, which scuppers any chance we've got of getting him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know if they're good enough to challenge. We don't know yet, I suppose, but I don't know if they're good enough to challenge for Man City. I think if they can finish in the top 4 this season, and they've got to go for one in domestic cups. Pochettino's got a bit of an advantage coming in because he's got no European football. Every other club in and around that top 4, top 6 will have European football of some sort. He doesn't have that. And now and again, clubs like Chelsea and Liverpool will drop out, or they'll drop out the Champions League and not take the Europa League quite so serious. And when that happens, I think you've got to take advantage of that situation. You really have to. You're able to now field your strongest 11 every single Premier League game, which isn't something Man City can do. It's not something this season that Liverpool will be able to do or Man United will be able to do. So Chelsea have to use that over their rivals, and they've got to. Champions League minimum, they have to finish in the top 4, and like you said, go after one of the 2 domestic trophies and get one of them in. Last question on Chelsea players you admire.
Oh, what can you say? I mean, there's loads. Yeah, well, I liked Kovacic. That was, to be fair, I did like him. I used to say Pulisic every game, didn't I? Actually, I really liked him. He was good. I don't mean to damn with faint praise. I'm not suggesting they got no good players at all. I know Reece James, you like as well. He's clearly he's the most complete of all the right backs. I know he's not playing right back, but you know what I mean. I'm really impressed with Silva. I don't know how he's carried on going. I don't know what they're fueling him up with, but he still looks to be producing the goods, and it looks like he'll play. In all honesty, Gio, I look at the team and it's barely recognisable. I know this Mudryk meant to be a good player. He didn't start the other day. I've not seen enough of him. Even this Fernandes, I've not seen enough. I think I might have seen more from his country than I have for Chelsea, quite frankly. It's gonna be a hard one. Gallagher started in the last game, didn't he, for Liverpool? And he said he wants to stay and fight for his place. Good luck with that one, particularly without European football, because with these new boys coming in, he's barely going to play. I might have that wrong. I don't know. Obviously,
I think he will. I think he'll get back to his better position, which we've seen at Crystal Palace, which is further forward in the pitch. I think he's been sort of used as a centre midfielder a bit too much because of lack of options. But now Caicedo's there, Fernandes is there, Lavia's rocking up. I mean, he'll be able to push up and challenge Carney for that sort of number 10 role, if you like, him behind the strike. If they switch to back 4 long term, which I think they will, then I think that will I actually think Gallagher will really benefit from these signings, actually.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, look, who knows? They've got too many players, Gio. They've got too many players to make. Lots of them. Let's just say Chelsea, lots of bloody good players.
Enzo Fernandez has been superb. When they bought him, it's no secret. He's top talent, but he's come in. He's just taken to the Premier League straight away. Some players do. Some players come in and it's like they've been here for years, and Fernandes has done that again on Sundays, just spraying the ball around, controlling the game, dictating the play, and I think he'll be even better once with a defensive midfielder next to him, so he can go forward a bit more if he wishes to. So I think the Caicedo and Fernandes pivot on Sunday, I think, it'll be tough, actually. It'll be tough for us. I'm just glad. It's a bit like Bournemouth. I said, I'm glad we're playing Bournemouth now before the new manager and signings have settled in. I'm a bit like that with Chelsea now. I'm glad that we're playing them two on their first time playing together, because give them 10, 15 games, and imagine as a partnership, them two will be one of the best in the Premier League. I include Man City in that. In terms of centre midfield partnerships, I think Chelsea are possibly going to have one of the best.
Yeah,
in the middle, that's going to dictate play. They're going to move the ball about well. They're going to be hard to break when you're attacking them. Both of them are really good defensively as well. So as a pairing in midfield, that's got some potential in there. I think Ben Chilwell's superb. He's very unlucky with injuries, but I think England are blessed to have him and Luke Shaw, because I think both of them are utter class. And I say that reluctantly. One plays for Man U, one plays for Chelsea, and both play for England. But I do think Ben Chilwell was just absolutely fantastic player. But there's a lot of players that are waiting to come good at Chelsea. Madueke, Mudryk, there's a lot of players that have brought in. We haven't seen the best yet. Like you said, good to see Colwell getting a chance, and he will go on to become a top centre back for them. And pity we can't get Maatsen, but it looks like Hall might be leaving, which even further decreases our chance of getting Maatsen as well, which is a shame. But anyway, shall we talk about West Ham?
Yeah.
Team news is quite simple, really. There isn't really any, other than the fact that Edson, Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse are obviously available for West Ham on Sunday. Now, in regards to signings between now and the game. The players for Chelsea or West Ham must be signed and registered by 12 o'clock on Friday. So any players registered prior to 12 o'clock on Friday can play in this game on Sunday. But if they're signed and registered later than that on Friday or Saturday, they cannot feature in this match. So there's your sort of clarity over how the new signings work, because obviously West Ham trying to sign players, Chelsea trying to sign players as well. So there might be 1 or 2 additions to each squad before we face each other. But from those available, Gonzo, I mean, let's start with the keeper. A bit of a surprise last week. Areola got the gloves. Fabianski wasn't too happy about it. But who would you like to see start?
Oh, Areola. I think if you're going to do it. What Areola deserves is what Fabianski's got in previous seasons, which is he deserves a little run of games now, because if Fabianski had a bad game, Fabianski still played the next game. I'm not saying Areola had a bad game, but he had, there's nothing, wasn't a particularly spectacular game. He had an average game, but he deserves a little run of let's see him prove it over 3 or 4 games. I think he deserves maybe the first 4 or 5 games to have a look at him. So I'd absolutely put him back in.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want Fabianski last week, but we've got Areola, and I think I'd like to see Areola this week because we've got to stick with him. Like you said, we've got to give him a run. If Moyes has decided this is his number one, stick with your decision. While it's not pleasing to hear what Fabianski had to say, Moyes has got to stick to, and I think he will stick to his guns. It's a tough lot. You sulk all you want. You can do it on the bench, and you'll play in the Europa League kind of thing. So
yeah, and it's important that doesn't work. Yeah, you cannot have a situation at your football club where you can go have a rant on your national TV. He did it on Polish TV. Go and have a rant, criticise the manager, criticise everything, and then for your club to go, oh, okay, since you've done that, we'll put you back in the team.
Kind of worked for Soufal, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's important it doesn't. I think you've got to put your foot down on that one.
Would you like to see change information or stick with a back 4 for this one? You're trying to second guess Chelsea a little bit. They obviously played like a back 3 against Liverpool, but I think they'll go to a back 4 for this one. I think they'll probably have that extra attacking player in there.
Do you know what, Gio? I think ultimately it does. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I think the result will be the same, irrespective of whether we play 3, 4, 5, or 6 at the back, really. But I think. I hadn't even thought about it, actually. Do you know what? Now you mention it, maybe a back 3 would be better, but the team I've got in my mind is a back 4, so I'm going with that.
You do it, David Moyes. You stick to your guns. I'm going with the back 4 as well, even though I'm a bit hesitant. The problem is, this is what happens when I think you have unbalanced fullbacks. So if you go to a back 3, Soufal's majorly compromised because he's not a wing back. He's not good enough. But Emerson would then be in his best position. But your keeper is a back 4, so Soufal's in his best position, hallelujah. But on the other side, you've got Emerson, who's a bit suspect defensively, and suddenly you've got a bit of a weakness. And if Reece James is fit, I mean, even he's not, Gusto looked bloody good when we played Lyon a couple of seasons back in Europa League, but even him down that right side would cause us problems. But I thought James and Sterling linked up well down the right against Liverpool. So I'm going to go with a back 4 for this one because I think it's what suits us best rather than what suits Chelsea. So personnel the same, Soufal, Zuma, Aguerd and Emerson?
Yes, absolutely.
Now moving into midfield, this is where the tough decisions come because Alvarez is available and Ward-Prowse is available. Paqueta's still here and we've seen a really committed performance from him against Bournemouth. But we also seen a really good performance from Thomas Souček against Bournemouth.
And Fornells, they were all good.
And Fornells. So the 3 that started last week arguably deserve to keep their... Before we decide what you want to do, would you agree that arguably those 3 deserve to keep their places on Sunday?
100%. The defeat, I almost called it a defeat. The draw against Bournemouth. Exactly.
It felt like a defeat.
It did, didn't it? The draw against Bournemouth was not their fault. I thought that was the one area of the pitch that really sort of functioned, actually. So they absolutely deserve to keep their place. I'm going to break it up, but they do deserve to keep it.
So how are you going to break it up? Talk me through.
Well, I think we have a very, very slim chance of getting anything against Chelsea. And that the only way I can possibly see us scoring against Chelsea is through a set piece, actually. And I think if that is... And I'm talking about winning the game or getting a point from the game here. And for that reason, I think you'd be foolish not to have this specialist, dead-eyed Dick, as I've called him, into the team, which is obviously James Ward-Prowse. I feel would have to be brought in. So it's really who you sacrifice for him. I know I'm going to sacrifice for him, but you can guess if you want.
Well, I'm going to say Fornells.
Yeah. Souček was mine and your man of the match, which we discussed on our Patreon player ratings. A little plug there.
I was going to do it once we've done the starting 11s, but you can plug Patreon if you want.
I will plug Patreon. I'm sort of rummaging around trying to find me book, which of course, because it's a disorganised mess. Oh, there it is. Look, Patreon player ratings book, and that little flash. There you go. I wonder if someone's going to actually pause that and be bothered enough to have a look. After every single game, myself and Geo sit down and we pour over the results, and we pour over the tactics, and we pour over what's been done, and we rate people, some highly, some medium, some people get rated low. We even give the manager a rating. It's just one of the many videos that we do on our Patreon channel, which is a subscription channel, but it's like your third Hammers Chat channel. Basically, it's a fantastic. Well, we think it's a fantastic.
But we're a bit biased.
We are a bit biased. We have a right old laugh there. We got opposition previews. We've got Two Spanners, One Hammer, which is really, I think it's a very, very funny podcast. We're not even on it. So there you go. So we're not even bigging ourselves up there. We got Hammerlytics, which is just outstanding. Some people say worth the subscription alone. Got the Anton Ferdinand podcast, whatever that is. That's a pretty good one. You've not heard of that one before, have you? And we've got our Naked with Geo and Gonzo, which is nothing to do with football. It's just us sort of ranting.
Or getting clothes off. Just for clarity.
Don't get our clothes off. We don't have no trousers on. It's us ranting.
When you say it's Naked with Geo and Gonzo, nothing to do with football, just for clarity, there's no clothing moving.
Absolutely.
Either.
Well, I always record with no trend. I'm joking. Anyway, yes, so there's lots of reasons to do it. Best of all is you support Hammers Chat and allow us to do this as a job, which is why we can do daily uploads every day. And also you get a massive discount to our online store, which is the best online store in the whole of the West Ham world, obviously.
Links in description, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Gonzo, so your midfield, Souček, Ward-Prowse and Paqueta.
Yeah.
I've gone with the same. I get why people are going to be screaming at the computer right now, going, "What? No Alvarez?
What?
Souček?"
We're not signing up for Patreon if that's your midfield tree.
Yeah, that's why we plugged it before we confirmed that we're going with Souček. But the reason I've done it is there's three reasons. Souček I thought was man of match against Bournemouth. Alvarez didn't have a pre-season. He played for Mexico in the Gold Cup. He's gone away. He's had a week's training, essentially. And thirdly, you speak about set pieces being key, so let's get Ward-Prowse in the team. Well, I agree, but set pieces are key, so let's get Souček in the box for them. Now, Alvarez is good at attacking set pieces, but I don't want to take Paqueta out of the team. There is an argument that Fornals his pressing is really important to us, and I agree. But again, I don't want to take Paqueta out of the team. He's the first name on team sheet. If, for whatever reason, he had said to David Moyes that he wants to go, fine. But I don't believe that to be the case whatsoever. I've been very impressed by his attitude. I've been impressed by his family coming out straight after the bid was rejected, coming out with the kids outside the training ground saying, "Oh, we're happy here, blah, blah, blah." I like it. I like what we're hearing from Paqueta. And I think, again, if he wants the move to Man City, he's going to have to be man of match on Sunday. He's going to have to show Pep Guardiola he's worth 85, 90 million. He's going to have to do it. To put him in, essentially, let's put him in the shop window and say, there you go, then earn your move to the Etihad. You get us a win against Chelsea, you're man of match. When you go to City, we'll shake your hand and say thank you very much. So, yeah, I've got the same team as you thus far, but this is where it gets interesting. The attacking three positions, what are you going for? I assume you're going for Bowen on the right.
Absolutely, yeah. Why would you not? And I'm actually going for. I'm just trying to mix things up a little bit. I say we only have one way of scoring. Actually, we have two. But that's on the counter attack as well. I think more likely a set play.
So bad. You should have about 5 or 6 ways of scoring.
We don't. I mean. See, the thing is, as I say, the midfield functions. The defense was okay, a bit shaky at times. Yeah. Look, some little errors from a Gerd. Maybe Zuma wasn't at his best for the goal, but by and large, the defense was, let's call it, okay. Midfield really good. Where we didn't function was as an attacking threat particularly well at all, save for Bowen's wonderful goal, of course. So, ironically and unfortunately, the one area we haven't strengthened is the area that we were weakest against Bournemouth. So how are we going to get to attack Chelsea and get that counter-attack? Well, we need a little bit more pace in the team. I thought Ben Rama was ineffective, it has to be said. However, I'm not entirely sure Antonio is wise to start him because of how he played, because of his lack of fitness. It appeared he was unfit, actually, against Bournemouth. Also, the fact that there's uncertainty around his future, let's put it that way. However, I would still include him, but we still need pace. And for that reason, I'm going to play Antonio on the left wing. and I'm going to play Maxwell Cornet up front just to see if we can. And I would be strict instructions for Gerd and Areola. Ping them as quickly as you can. It ain't going to be easy. Possibly the ultimate counter-attacking team in recent years is Liverpool. They do it, Chelsea had, if you watch that game, Chelsea had all the possession. Liverpool are a counter-attacking team and have been for years, and they found it hard against Chelsea. So I don't think it's going to be easy. But those would be my two ways. Anything else is just going to result in too much sitting back. We're going to invite Chelsea upon us.
I completely understand why you would drop Benrahma. I thought he was poor against Bournemouth as well. But I'd give him another run for this one. It's only one game into the season, so I'd give him another go. The only alternative is Maxwell Cornet or Pablo Fornals out of position. While I was impressed by Fornals against Bournemouth, that was in what I think is his best position, which is centrally. So putting him out on the left doesn't mean you're going to see the same performance. So I'd give Benrahma another crack at this one. But I'd like to see the sub made a little bit earlier if needs be.
You don't like the 93rd minute sub?
I don't like any of the subs he does usually, to be honest with you. But if come even at half time, if it's not working, he's not playing well, get him off, put Cornet on. Let's give Cornet more than 90 seconds to do something. And I mean, he still found time to be offside. But I'll tell you what though, that run he did, I know he was offside, but the run in the move he made, nobody had done that for 90 minutes till he came onto the pitch. And suddenly he's like, right, I'm going to squeeze in between these two centre-backs and just give me the ball. It didn't work, but he tried something a little bit different than what we'd seen. And I thought, there you go. There's somebody that's actually got a little bit of creativity and invention about him. Rather than standing on the touchline waiting for the ball, he's making moves. And so Benrahma to start. And now I'm going to go Mubama up front. I think I wanted to see him against Bournemouth. He didn't. I wasn't impressed with Antonio. I wasn't impressed with Danny Ings when he came on. It's by default, really. Do I want to see Ings up front? Absolutely no chance can we see Ings up. We cannot see Ings on Sunday at all, unless we're going to go two up front, which we won't. So that's him ruled out. Antonio, I wasn't impressed by him. I thought he tried hard. He's just ineffective. So let's give Mubama a go.
What do you think, Geo? Let's put the questions back on you. What do you think David Moyes will do in central? I think it's safe to assume he's not going to do our teams up front. What we both want. We both want something a little bit different. I think it's safe to assume he'll go exactly the same. What do you think he'll do with that midfield conundrum?
I think he'll do what we suggest. I do. I think Alvarez not having a pre-season gives Moyes a get out of jail card here. Moyes can say he's not had a pre-season, he's not fit enough to play 90 minutes. And I think it's hard to argue against that. He can't say that about Ward-Prowse. He's had a pre-season, and then he's played a competitive game for Southampton. So that's Ward-Prowse is fit. He is ready to go. So I think he'll go Souček, Ward-Prowse, and Paqueta. I think he will. The only way he gets around it is Paqueta is in Manchester on Friday or Saturday, and then I think we'll see Alvarez, Souček, and Ward-Prowse. So he might put Fornals in Paqueta's place, but I think that's the only way around it, really.
Interesting.
Anyway, are you confident?
No. I don't know why I was surprised. Actually, it just made me laugh. Are you asking? No, I'm not. No.
Are you optimistic at all?
No, not in any way.
Are you excited? Are you remotely looking forward to the game?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it, but I think it's bordering on incompetence, not strengthening the attack. But so far, when we have the second game of the Premier League already upon us, and the attack, which is deficient, has not been strengthened. And when you are chucking on somebody like Danny Ings, who is not suited to your system, again, I will always make the disclaimer, I'm quite sure Danny Ings would be playing for other clubs and scoring goals. It's nothing against him as a finisher. But, he's a great little fox in a box. But fox in a box is not what David Moyes does at all.
But you need the ball in the box.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you really do. And, we had the ultimate fox in the box in Xavier Hernandez. David Moyes had him twice at Man U and West Ham and didn't know what to do with him. So he's just not suited to us. And with that in mind, I do think it's negligent not to do that. So I think it's going to be difficult. And because it's going to be difficult, we're going to invite pressure upon us. If we can invite pressure upon us against Bournemouth and allow them to attack with the unrivaled and unlimited resources that Chelsea have got, Chelsea are in a position where they would, you could almost imagine them lobbying for a rule change to allow 10 substitutes in a game. It would benefit them. They have so many players. I think it's going to be nigh on impossible for us to defend the whole time and keep them at bay. So then it asks the question, okay, well, if we can't defend the whole time, then let's go and take the play up to their end of the pitch. Well, we're not capable of doing that either. We're not capable of having 40% of the game. It's just not going to happen, and that's the only thing that could keep them away. So no, I'm not confident at all.
Yeah, me neither. I think I was impressed by Chelsea. I was hoping last Sunday when I sat down to watch it, I was hoping to see a team that was quite evident they were playing under a new manager for the first time. I was hoping to see ego. I was hoping to see a little bit of selfishness from players and whatever, and I didn't, unfortunately. I've seen a team that was a little bit more together than they were under Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. I thought there was a team with a bit more of a plan than they had under Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. I was impressed by what I've seen, and I didn't like it because we were playing them. And when I was watching it, I thought, we're just going to struggle. We're not going to do well against this team. I wasn't confident beating Bournemouth because I thought we're going to have to score 2 to win the game. And I'm not confident of scoring 2 against Bournemouth. I'm not confident in scoring at least 2 against Chelsea. I'm not confident in us keeping a clean sheet. So therefore, the best I can hope for is a draw. The only thing that sort of gives me a smattering of hope at the minute is that we usually turn up against Chelsea. Under David Moyes, we usually turn up against Chelsea. While he's got that crap away record, when we go to Stamford Bridge, we tend to do okay there. Results-wise, maybe not, but we got mugged off with VAR last season. We deserved a point. We should have got a point from that one. At the London Stadium, we've been okay. We don't necessarily win them all, but we're very competitive against them. And it's a game that we get up for. Now, obviously, naturally, then that my subconscious says, yeah, but is that because we used to have Martin Noble, then we had Declan Rice, players that maybe understood the fixture? Do we still have that understanding in the squad? I wasn't going to ask this. It's just come to my head. Ward-Prowse is captain on Sunday. Can you see it?
I would think so. But I don't think he would have done if we were still... Maguire. Yeah, absolutely. But I think now he's got a decision to make. He might as well make it now. And I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. I and I was mucking around with it and all the rest of it, but I do genuinely welcome him to the club. I'm really pleased that we've signed him. I'm looking forward to it. That I've watched it. If you haven't done so, there's no reason for us to point you in that direction, but go and have a look. Southampton have got a YouTube channel. They did a farewell James Ward-Prowse video on YouTube, by the way. It's very hard not to be impressed. He's a good guy. He's of sound character. He's strong-minded. He's funny. He's going to be a real great addition to the club. And I tell you what, just because he's played all his life for Southampton, he's clearly a very, very bright boy. And if he walks into that dressing room, he's going to absolutely say, look, I might have cut Southampton, but I'll tell you now, even at being a Southampton, I know that West Ham Chelsea's a big fixture. This is a big London derby for you boys. He's not going to be. He's going to be saying us and we straight away. And I think
he's been singing Bubbles, hasn't he? He's been walking around the pitch with his kids singing Bubbles.
Yeah, I really, really like him. I can't. I think actually, you know what? I think it's a really, really good signing, and it shows how much I think of him. That I already in doing this video, I'm already talking about him as possibly the only way or the main threat that we can possibly beat Chelsea. So, I think David Moyes should make him captain as well.
I'll get excited. We get a free kick outside that box. I'm going to get excited. It's been a while. When Cresswell was on, here we go. But apart from that, it's used to be what we're going to do here. But now we get a free kick within 25, 30 yards of that goal. I'm going to be thinking, come on then. It's time for Ward-Prowse. We get corners. The deliveries are going to be good. We know we've got players in the box capable of scoring headers. So he adds that little bit of excitement. And can I get any final words and a score prediction, please?
Yeah, I mean, I don't wish to be doom and gloom. It's just the way that the fixtures have gone.
It's honesty. Give us your honest.
It's why the Bournemouth game was important. It really is. The club need to sort themselves out. They need to sort this attacking situation out. They really, really do. I spoke about it in previous videos. It's about 60 million that we've spent so far. With all the other money, I think there's still about 75 million to spend, and that's before we've sold Paqueta. It's bordering on the negligent that another attacker has not been brought in. We do not have 3 attackers, and we play with 3 attackers. Let me just point out, that's how we play, with 3 attackers. We do not have 3 attackers that frighten the life out of the opposition. We just don't. And that needs to be rectified, and it needs to be sorted. And for that reason, I just don't think, I always say, give the opposition something to worry about. Maybe they've got a little bit to worry about, Chelsea, but they don't have enough to worry about with West Ham. I don't think, honestly, I really don't think when those team sheets go in, that the opposition managers are thinking, oh dear, look, West Ham, they're really not. And West Ham need to sort that out. And that's on David Moyes, and it's on David Sullivan, it's on the recruitment team as well. I'm not confident at all. I think we're going to sit back, and I think we're going to defend. I hope to be proven wrong, but I think we're going to lose 3-0.
I'm not confident in the slightest. You can probably imagine. Last week, I thought our defending against Bournemouth was dodgy at times. Well, we're playing a better attack this time. Our attack versus Bournemouth was non-existent. We're playing a better defence this time round. We've improved in the middle of the pitch since last weekend, which is good. That gives me a little bit of hope that we can have a little bit of grit in there. And like I said, when we get set pieces, we've got a chance. But the problem is getting up the pitch to get set pieces. It's all very well having one of the best corner kick takers in the league, but you ain't getting corners, and it's a little bit pointless. And we could have, and I listen to what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but we could have signed Cole Palmer and Carlos Borges. We could have a front three, Palmer, Bowen, and Borges for today, Gonzo. I still wouldn't be confident because of the manager, because of the attitude, because of what we seen last week against Bournemouth. 1-0 up in the 52nd minute, and the massive big red defence button got pushed, and that was his attitude. So we could go sign 350 million pound attackers. I don't think my confidence would increase a little, but not by much. I wouldn't be predicting a West Ham win. I think we'd get beat 3-2 instead of 2-0. I do, but because of the manager at the minute, it's just, we've only got one game to go on, but it's not just that. It's what we've seen last season as well. And I think I've not been impressed. I'm worried for this one, and I think it's going to be a tough watch for West Ham fans, actually. I really do. I think it's going to be a hard slog where we're barely going to see the ball. And when we do see it, I don't think we're going to do much with it. And I think the wingers, Bowen and Ben Rama, likely, are going to have a very unforgiving task on Sunday, which is when we get the ball, you're going to have to run 60 yards, but then you've got to turn around and run back immediately and start defending for large parts of the game as well. So our wingers are going to be defending for 90% of the game on Sunday, and that's what makes me a little bit sad. So I'm going to say West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. Anyway, if you somehow enjoyed this preview, I bet you Chelsea fans are, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat, and if you fancy supporting the channel from £3.60 per month, so it's less than £1 a week. Please do go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below. Any and all support is massively appreciated, helps us out a lot, and allows us to keep creating content every single day on YouTube for free. Anyway, myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.